World War II crash aircraft finally found. This is the story of Royal Australia Air Force, RAAF, Bristol Beaufort A9-211 which disappeared, along with its 4 crew, while on a mission in Papua New Guinea in December 1943. The crash site was finally found in 2022, and the cruise remains identified in 2025. There is no Bristol Beaufort in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so we'll take a sort of similar Avro Anson. Former main Beaufort factory and airport, Fisherman's Bend, Port Melbourne, Australia. Factory is left-hand end of the hooked taxiway. In World War II, Australia produced 700 British twin-engined, 4-man Bristol Beaufort aircraft for the RAAF that could carry torpedoes or bombs to patrol Australia's vast coastline and strike any invasion fleet. Drawing on a tiny industrial base and few skilled workers, the Beaufort Division of the Department of Aircraft Production, DAP, grew to 7 factories in 3 states. DAP, which also made other World War II aircraft, reached 8,500 employees. Thousands more worked for 600 private subcontractors. Much different scene at Fisherman's Bend today. DAP factories and airport gone. Now new bridge, parkland, container port etc. The Beauforts were built from 1941 to 1944. The first real Beaufort squadron was 100 Squadron. It was built up and trained here at RAAF Point Cook in early 1942. Point Cook, just outside Melbourne, is the world's oldest continuously operating military airfield since 1913-14. See my video dated the 11th of June, 2021. The former Beaufort factory and airport, and still existing RAAF Point Cook, located near Melbourne, at the southern end of mainland Australia. After RAAF Point Cook, 100 Squadron undertook shipping escort, sea patrol and operational training from various locations in Australia and Papua New Guinea. Then to join in the stopping of the Japanese who had landed near the Australians at Milne Bay, Papua New Guinea, the squadron was sent to Milne Bay in September 1942. There were 2 airstrips at Milne Bay, shown here in MSFS as they were in World War II, Gurney and Turnbull, not Turnbull as shown in MSFS. The Japanese were hoping to take Milne Bay as a preparatory step to take the Papua New Guinea capital, Port Moresby, but they lost the Battle of Milne Bay, their first loss in the war. See my video of the 11th of March, 2021. During 1942-43, 100 Beaufort Squadron flew many missions in, around, and far out from Milne Bay. On the 19th of August, 1943, the squadron claimed a record for a squadron on active service for any 31 days period. Between the 20th of July and the 19th of August, 1943, the squadron flew 1,615 hours on 438 sorties. About 113,000 gallons of fuel were needed to keep the aircraft in the air, along with 1,500 hours of service work to maintain the Beauforts in flying condition. Turnbull no longer exists, but Gurney was developed into a modern airport. Milne Bay, located at the eastern tip of mainland Papua New Guinea. In November 1943, in preparation for Allied attacks on the major Japanese stronghold of Rabaul, 100 Beaufort Squadron was moved from Milne Bay to Vivigani Airstrip on Goodenough Island, which was closer to Rabaul. From here, the Australian Beauforts made many raids on Rabaul, usually at night, while the American fighters confronted Japanese fighters during the day. Vivigani Airstrip on Goodenough Island is shown here in MSFS where it was in World War II. Today, the airstrip has totally gone, taken over by jungle. Goodenough Island, located just north of Milne Bay, at the eastern tip of Papua New Guinea. The night of the 14th of December, 1943, saw 100 Squadron departing Vivigani Airstrip on Goodenough Island to attack Rabaul with 10 Beauforts, one of the last raids on Rabaul for the year. At the time, there were 5 Japanese airstrips at Rabaul. These have now all gone, and there is today a new Rabaul Tokua Airport on the headland to the right of the World War II right-hand side airstrip. Five aircraft did not reach the target in Rabaul due to appalling weather that often reduced visibility to instrument flying, which we will not try to replicate here. 3 crews managed to bomb the target area. 1 crew diverted and bombed an alternate location. Another crew landed elsewhere, while the others returned to Vivigani, all except A9-211. Next morning, A9-211 was reported missing on operations, and searches over ensuing days failed to find it. The crew, missing, believed killed, comprised Flight Sergeants Pilot John Kenny and Navigator Radio Vairgunners Thomas Burrows, Arthur Davies and Murray Fairbairn. New Rabaul Tokua Airport was built far away after the destructive 1994 volcano eruption, right-hand side of aircraft in the distance. One of the 5 World War II airstrips shown in MSFS in its original location. It no longer exists. Rabaul sits on an active volcano. The 1994 eruption destroyed the town and airport ahead. This was the only one of the 5 World War II airstrips to survive the war, and was then destroyed by the 1994 volcano eruption, shown here in MSFS as it was in the war. Rabaul was the major Japanese base in this theatre of the war. It was very heavily defended since the Japanese took it from the Australians earlier in the war in 1942. In 2022, 80 years after a 9-211 went missing, a local teenager from Rabaul, trekking through the jungle, came across a crashed aircraft. In 2025, it was proved to be a 9-211. It had crashed in unknown circumstances, enemy fire, weather, mechanical issues. In thick jungle in the steep Baining Mountains south of Rabaul, a remote, rugged, largely unpopulated area. The aircraft appeared to have nosedived into the ground and burned on impact. Rabaul, located at the northern tip of the Papua New Guinea island of New Britain. To add to the tragedy, it was Tom Burrows' first bombing mission. His twin brother, who also served in World War II as a coast watcher, died in 2023, just 2 years before his brother's remains in A9-211 were identified. Their older brother died earlier as a Japanese prisoner on the POW ship Montevideo Maru, which sank in 1942 and was finally discovered in 2023. In World War II, over 210,000 personnel served in the RAAF. About 10,000 died, including over 1,400 still missing with no known graves. Thanks for watching. Now to end on a lighter note. There are no Beauforts airworthy, although there are several restoration projects underway. It is also difficult to find good footage of flying Beauforts. So I hope you enjoy this original footage of some Aussies and their Beauforts during World War II.